teachers, welcome back to another tutorial video. So in my previous videos, I connected my student with a teacher code. I generated a reading lesson, a vocabulary lesson, a YouTube lesson, and a grammar lesson. And now I'm going to show you how to use the ESLFlix student tracker. So this is the best way to track what your student is studying, what your student has already studied, and plans for future study. So you go to the My Students section and you click on Student Tracker. That's step one. So if you only have one student like me, you will see a page like this. So I'm going to go through exactly how to use the student tracker. So if you have one student, you just click on them. And if you remember from the previous tutorials, I sent 4 lessons to my student and they already appear here automatically. I didn't have to do anything. I'm going to remove them just so you can see me doing it from scratch. So if I right click, I'm going to remove them one by one. So now this is a clean slate for a student. I want to plan some lessons for my student, so I'm going to press Add Lesson in this preparing section. And I'm going to choose ESLFlix lesson, news lesson, and how nature activities can help people feel less lonely. I'll add it. I'm going to do the same for the other lessons, vocabulary lesson, the YouTube lesson, and the grammar lesson. Now my student already started answering some questions. So green means correct answers and red means incorrect answers. So I can, just by briefly looking, see how they're getting on. You know, if it's mostly red, maybe we need to review it and do it again. If it's mostly green, maybe they're done. So what happens next? These preparing lessons, they're all in the preparing stage. The student cannot see them when they are here. So for example, you might want to plan 10 lessons ahead for your student and you'd add everything in this preparing stage. You move the lessons by clicking and dragging. So let's put this one here in the studying section. And what does your student see? So I'll open up the app and you can see the student has now 2 sections. When they go to exercises from teacher, they now have studying and completed. So the currently studying lessons are clearly marked here. There's 1 here. Let me move this one in, refresh. There's now 2 lessons. And if I change the order, this one's at the top. So if you want to put the most important lessons at the top, you can. Now this appears. When you move it from preparing to studying, you can press Send Mobile Notification. So if I press this, it doesn't show here because this is my demo account, but it will send, if your student has the app installed and notifications working, it will send a notification saying your teacher has sent you a lesson. So I can choose to do that here. Now what happens when I move it to completed? The student refreshes. They have 1 lesson in studying, 1 in completed. So eventually they'll have many, many lessons in their completed list if they want to review old ones, and they'll mostly be looking at this studying section. I recommend only keeping maybe 2 or 3 lessons in here maximum, just so the student is not overwhelmed with work to do. Either the lesson you are doing in the class or some homework you send the student, and it will stay here. So as you know, maybe this lesson is finished, you move it to completed, and then you tell your student, okay, next lesson, we're going to do some grammar. You can now prepare it before the lesson. And it appears here. And maybe the reading it appears here. So you've got 2 in studying, 2 in completed. Now you might have noticed you have a choice, one of these ESLFlix lessons or other. So here you might just want to make some notes. Let's say this student needs to study present simple. And you can write some notes and you can add links to other resources, non-ESLFlix resources in here, and it will add a link. And the student cannot see this. This is just a note. So you make a preparing note. You could move it to studying or completed, but the student doesn't see anything. Because it's a note, there's no lesson connected. You can move it any way you want, and you can make many of these notes, and you can add more notes and everything there. So that is the first tutorial video on the student tracker. I hope it's clear and makes sense. You can start using it. I'm going to make a few more videos with some more advanced features, but for now, that should be enough to start using the student tracker. Send lessons to your students, send notifications to them, and they will be able to do them in the student app right here.